All right, so I want to talk about how to create layers and the functions you can use with layers. So I'm going to start with an empty canvas, and I'm going to go up here on the left side of the screen, and I'm going to hit those two squares, which is your layer menu. And when you click on that, you're going to see a box called Layer, and it will have the background color is always there, and it will have the first layer. How do you activate the background color? Click on background color, and then you can choose whatever color you want. I'm going to grab this little dot here, and I can move this. And if you notice the circle up here, it will change whatever color is in there. I like to change my backgrounds to kind of a neutral gray, which is actually the one I have down here in the color palette. So I'm going to click on that, and then when I hit done, I'm going to now activate that, and you'll see I've changed the color of the background layer. So the first thing to remember is, if we look in this layer box and we have this check mark, then the layer is activated. If the check mark is gone, the layer is not activated. All right? So from this blue box, you can do a couple things to the layer. If you put your finger or your eye pencil on the blue box and you slide it to the left, you're going to be able to lock the layer, duplicate the layer, or clear the layer. I'm going to show you that in a minute. If I swipe the blue box back, and then I take my pencil and I put it on the left side of the blue box and I click that, then I get another drop-down box, and you can do all of these things to that layer. You can do these same things from other places in Procreate, but this is one of the ways to catch them, and I'm going to come back and deal with those later. And then when I click on the layer, that will go away. All right? How do you add a layer? Pretty simple. Hit the plus mark, and you will get another layer, right? If you want to make the layer go away, slide this bar to the left and hit delete, and now the layer and everything on it has gone away. All right? So that's how you can add a layer. Click the plus to make it go away, delete it. Now, you can also add a layer to your composition by just adding something to your canvas. So I'm going to go to the other side of the top bar, and I'm going to hit the wrench, and I'm going to hit add, which means I want to add something to the composition, and I'm just going to insert a photo. I'm going to insert this photo, and now you will see when I click on the layers menu, it has added that image as a layer. All right? So if I want to add another image or item to my canvas, I'm going to hit, in this case, insert a photo, and now I'll do these gloves, and you'll see that it has added it as another layer on top of what was already there. And if I want to see what's underneath it, I just click this here. So when it adds layer, it starts at the bottom and builds up to the top of your screen. All right? If I want to move the placement of those layers, it's very, very simple. Hold and then down. Hold and up. I'm using my pencil or my finger. So that's how you move layers around in the layer menu. Hold it and pull it down. All right? I'm going to make this go away for a moment. All right? Now, let's say that on this top layer here, I decide I don't want the image of that dress anymore, but I want to keep the layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the layer till I get the menu here, and I'm going to either, oh, I'm sorry, I did it the wrong way. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to hit clear. Now it keeps the layer, but it deletes what's there. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to delete it. What do I do? Go over to the side menu and hit the back button, the back arrow, and now it's undone what I already did. All right? So let's look at what else is in this menu. I can change the name of the layer by clicking on that and typing in dress, and that will give me the layer name. I can also double click that and it will open it as well. I can also select everything in the layer by hitting that tab, and you'll notice now the select option has opened at the top of the screen, as has this bar at the bottom. All right. I can copy this, everything on the layer, I can hit copy. And then if I go over here to the wrench and I hit paste, it will put another layer in the same composition. I can also, I'm going to delete this, I can also copy this layer, and then I can go back out and I can open up another image and I can hit paste, and now it's copied that layer in my new canvas. All right. Fill layer allows you to fill the whole layer with a color. We don't use that very much. We've already talked about clear. Alpha Lock, which we'll talk about more later. Alpha Lock tells Procreate, I only want to draw on the image that's on the layer. So if you click Alpha Lock, you'll notice that behind the layer you see those boxes. That means that if you try to paint anywhere on this layer, the only place that the paint is going to stick, if you will, is on whatever image is in the layer. All right, so I'm going to remove that. We won't be using mask very much in our class, but we will definitely use clipping mask. We'll talk about this later. But here's how you activate clipping mask. Touch the side, and you'll notice then that it has this little tiny arrow. That indicates that it's a clipping mask. Okay, I'm going to remove that. You can invert the layer. You can use this as a reference. You'll notice it says reference here. I will show you how to do that and what that means when we get to a clipping mask, but that's how you get the reference layer. So you can also combine layers. So right now I have got the dress layer and the glove layer as two separate layers, meaning I can work on them individually. And if I do something on the dress layer, if I paint on the dress layer, it is not going to show up on the glove layer, right? So let's go to the glove layer, and I want to move that set of gloves over to here. Oh, I can't see it because it's not on top of it. There we go. So I'm going to move that glove layer over here, all right? So let's say I'm all done with my composition, or I want to put two things on the same layer. One of the things you can do is merge them down. And merging down will merge it down to the next layer. So if you watch in the layers box, when I hit merge down, now I have put the gloves on the same layer as the dress. If I made a boo-boo, I can reverse it like that, okay? If I hit combine down, watch what happens, right? It forms a separate group, all right? So those are the functions. Oh, one other function I forgot to show you. I'm going to reverse that, right? If you hit the N, you get a whole other bunch of menus, and if you look at the gloves, right, you'll see what happened to the gloves up there in the corner. So all of these do things to that layer. I tend to work exclusively on normal, but this is the one I use a lot, which is to change the opacity, right? This is probably what you're going to use the most, and so to get it, just hit on the N and then choose opacity. Again, you can use any of these, but I personally don't use them very much, but it doesn't mean you might not like to use them. So in general, be sure that when you look at a layer, it has an N here in the corner. All right? And that's the basic use of layers.